The live action How to Train Your Dragon film is here, and I definitely have a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. Another live action remake, not Disney, Dreamworks, obviously. And going in, I already knew, we had already heard that the script for this live action remake was a pretty much carbon copy of the original. There was hardly any changes made. They basically took the original animated film script and just did it in live action. Now, same director as the animated version, so he's back again on the helm, so that's cool, but they made hardly no changes. Now, that could be seen as one or two things. One, it's a faithful adaptation to the original story, which it is. And it overall works because it's that original story, carbon copy with hardly any changes really to the story in live action. However, the other side is, well, they had an opportunity to do something different and they chose not to. And you could say, well, maybe because the story is great the way it is, you don't need to make any changes. But my thinking is, if you're going to just do a live action remake of the story and not make any significant changes, why do it? The simple answer is money, greed. That's all it is. Because honestly, for me, even though I think this is a great live action adaptation because it's basically the same story again, and they put a lot of effort into the sets and the designs and the CGI of the characters, I think all the actors did pretty well in their roles. All of that, so it overall works. I've always said, cool, I guess we'll see how it goes when this is announced. But I personally want another story in this universe. Now I understand they've done 3 films. The trilogy is fantastic, and they've done multiple TV shows in this world. But I think there is more story they could tell, and they could have easily done a 4th one. Now we already know they're doing a How to Train Your Dragon 2. They're making the sequel, and they already announced it before this one even came out. They have that much confidence in this movie. Is it worth your time? Is it worth seeing in a theater? Because for me, for the visuals of it and the faithful adaptation, sure. But if you're somebody who's already seen the animated version of the film, the original story, besides some of the epic grand set pieces that are pretty much in the 3rd act and some of the flying sequences, you see a lot of the flying sequences in the trailers. Besides those moments, there really isn't anything worth seeing in this because you've already seen it in the original story. You've already seen it. If they made any significant changes, I would say potentially because you're going to get a different experience out of the film, but you might as well just go see the animated version. I remember, thinking, like, is this really necessary? And sure, as I mentioned, they've done a faithful adaptation in terms of the visuals, because I don't know how much better they could get it to looking like ripping literally from the animation to live action and making it look pretty damn accurate. I don't know how much more they could have done because they did a really damn good job at that. But that doesn't negate the fact that you could just go watch the original version and get that same feeling. Because yes, there's some grand moments, the gigantic dragon, all of the mayhem in the 3rd act, the flying scenes are really cool. And it's great to see that in live action, to see it come to life in that sense. And that's the marketing push they're trying to do. But you get that same feeling, and really, and honestly, it's more impactful in the original story. Like, the actors are doing pretty well for what they're given, which is the exact same dialogue for the most part. I think overall they're doing decent, solid, pretty good. I think Gerard Butler back again as a Hiccup's father is a smart move, honestly. But I just felt more connected to the original versions of these characters and not the live action ones. Not saying that anybody did a bad job. There were some jokes that didn't land in my theater, but then again, who knows? Humor is subjective. But I felt like the original just had more heart. This one definitely has it for sure, but I just didn't feel that connected. And it's kind of funny to say that at a live action version of the same story when the animated version was more impactful for me. I think it's because that was the first thing I saw, but I don't know. I think if I would have seen the live action version of this film first and then saw the animated, I might feel differently. But maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I would go, well, the live action did a pretty good job, and seeing the animated for the first time after the fact, seeing live action first and seeing the animated version first, if that was the case, I might feel that the animated version is better, because to me it is. It still is. Will I see the sequel that they're developing right now? And presumably probably going to make if this does well. it depends on a couple of factors, in theaters at least. One, are they doing a faithful adaptation of the sequel in terms of How to Train Your Dragon 2? If they are, I'm not going to go see it. I would prefer them to make some changes. Like I would like to experience a different story, because I it's really tricky. But for me, like, I've already seen what they can do with a faithful adaptation. I would like for them to make some changes, and hopefully the director who was there, who during the original era, like he was the director of the animated versions of these stories, he's now at the helm for live action. I would like to think that he goes, did the faithful adaptation for the first one. We're doing the sequel. We're doing another one. Let's tell that story, the second film, like in animation, in live action, but let's make some changes. Let's go into a different direction. Let's surprise the audience, right? Let's give them something familiar, but also something new at the same time with this story. Let's make some changes. I would then be open to go see it, because they've already shown that they know what they're doing in terms of the budget and the visuals of this world. So I would like to see it. But if it's a complete, like, almost carbon copy like this one, again, just taking the script of sequel and just redoing it in live action, I'm not gonna see it in theaters. I'm just not gonna do that. So hopefully they can actually do something different. So yeah, I know this review is conflicting. I'm having some kind of like trying to figure out what I'm trying to say in this video, but that's where I really am in my mind, is I'm really conflicted. Like, if you love the original film and you love the trilogy, by all means, if you have any excitement, go see the film. But we know, before the film even opened, we know that it was going to be a carbon copy. So no, going in, you're not going to be seeing really anything different than what you've already seen before in the original telling of this story. So just know that going in. But yeah, so that's my overall thoughts. I had a good time with it, but I just kept getting reminded, I wonder how I'd feel about this movie. Like, even though they're sticking the landing here, they're delivering on that original story, but in live action here, so they're delivering on that. But how would I feel if this was actually being told a little bit differently? Like, if the story was a little different. Maybe there's some character choices or some different moments or different dialogue, but more so just like different things that kind of maybe lead to the same conclusion, but maybe there's a different approach to it. Maybe there's more that they could do with certain characters, and maybe this would have been more impactful, because then it would have been a different experience for me in that audience, watching it for the first time in the theaters here, this live action version. If they would have done something different, maybe it would have been more impactful, but that's just my 2 cents on it, I guess. But have you guys seen the live action How to Train Your Dragon? If you have, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about the film, and are you excited, because they're saying they're going to do another one. Are you excited for it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Talk to you guys soon. Peace out.